بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear brothers and sisters, I greet you with the warmest salutation, with the salam, with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all worlds, the Master of the Day of Judgment, and peace be upon all His messengers, especially the seal of prophets, Muhammad, peace be upon him and his holy progeny of Ahlul Bayt, as he was sent a mercy for all mankind. صلي على محمد وآل محمد. Once Elon Musk was asked, "Do you believe in God?" So he replied, "I believe in the laws of physics. My faith is in science. You need only the laws of physics to understand the universe, and you don't need to interpret events due to the existence of a supreme being, a God." Unfortunately, this is not. This is now is a trend for a lot of researchers, materialistic researchers, and scientists. So, do we need religions to? Do we need religion in our life? Is religion essential in our life? In other terms, can science unveil all the mysteries in the universe? Can science answers the question about mysteries in the universe? See, it's obvious and it's well known that the science answer the question of how, and remark that religion answers the question of why. And there is a big difference, where the religion deals with the words of God, the scriptures. The science deals only with the works of God. And also there is a big difference. So we know that it is that differentiation with the current philosophy between the concept of science and the concept of religion. But now, in the Islamic history, if we refer to whether we refer to the Quran or to our tradition, we see that the word ilm, knowledge, can refer to both, and basically is referring to both. Is referring to the university, to science, means to the universe, to the natural phenomena in the universe, and also it refers to the religion, to the religious knowledge. So there were no distinctions. And if we look at one of the verses, and I have that verse that Allah says, "We will show them our signs in the universe and in their own selves, so it will become manifest to them that this Quran is the truth." In Arabic, سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق. Now, you know, as a tool, as my friend Aqil was referring to that science is in the service of religion and explain and help to prove what the religion is trying to implement in the society. And one of the big scientists said, in doing science, I am coming to know God's creation in a new and in a meaningful way, in a more meaningful way. So now, what is all this about atheists? You know, in US here, over 50% of the scientists are believers, believe in God. Now the rest are either skeptical or atheists. But then those atheists, those are distorting the meaning or the tool of science to serve their claims. And what they claim, that the universe function on its own, and there is no creator to this for this universe. And those people, those atheists, try to extend the role of religion to cover the role of science to cover religion. So they say science becomes a religion, and you will see that this claim is absurd and does not stand, and we'll prove that. And also what we will prove that science is essential for people in their life. It is a factor that we cannot live without, and we'll try to prove those two premises. Now, during the old time, the materialistic people, where they were living in Greece, they started in Greece with all those different theories. They were thinking that this universe, the matter itself, is eternal. There were no beginning for this matter. So the matter in the universe has always been there. Also, a lot of scientists in the Middle Ages in Europe and during the Renaissance, they were claiming that the same premise. Now, why they were saying that? Remark that this is philosophical, and it has been all the time, that there is nothing that comes out of nothingness. So for this premise remark, there is nothing comes out of nothingness, and for everything that has a beginning, it has a cause, and therefore it has a purpose. So and this was pretty known for scholars. So those atheists, in order to escape this premise, that is everything that has a beginning, then it has a cause, they were saying the universe didn't have a beginning. There were no beginning for the universe, therefore there were no cause. And what happened, that they were not lucky, because with the tool of science, we could, after the year 1922, we could observe the universe and find out that the universe is expanding, and is expanding in an accelerated fashion. As you know, Hubble, the American scientist, was observing some galaxies and some rays for some stars, and he discovered that the universe is expanding, and he could put a formula to calculate the expansion rate and the expansion mode. So what this tells, though, this was a blow for atheists. Why? Because this shows that since the universe is expanding, okay, then what does this mean? That it is always a changing, and it's always, the matter is always a changing, and it's adding matter. So this means that it has a start, it has a beginning. And this is what we call the Big Bang. Now remark that the word Big Bang was first coined by a physicist and theologist called Georges Lemaitre, is a Belgian theologist and physicist. And he coined that with the term Big Bang. What we can, by deduction, conclude that the universe will have an end. And this is what we call the Big Crunch. So now, for Muslims and for Greek philosophers, Aristotle was very wise, and he didn't admit that the matter is always eternal. So Aristotle said that an infinitely past event is irrational and is impossible. So there is no such a thing called infinitely past event. And for Muslims, as we know that with the Ilm al-Kalam, there were a lot of studies and a lot of research to check whether the al-Kawnu hadithun am qadim, the universe is qadim, old means eternal, or it was created. And guess what? A lot of Muslim scholars were saying it was eternal, except, Al-Ghazali and Al-Kindi and a few others. So this was really because they had only the tool of philosophy. They didn't have the tool of science to confirm any inference. So, but now we know via the tool of science that the universe has been created. And matter of fact, the universe started with a singularity. So all started from one point of matter, highly dense in matter. Guess what? Is smaller than is 10 billion smaller than an atom of hydrogen. It started from that. It's, as you know, it's mind-boggling. Subhanallah. So this one first premise that was proven absurd by atheists. The other premise that they did, and it was proven by science that it is false, is that the universe arranged itself on its own. And the science came here to prove that intelligent design was detected since the first moment of the universe. So with the probabilistic mathematics and the laws of thermodynamic science, they found out that the matter can form in, for example, billions or trillions of ways, but it was chosen one specific way. And with the whole dependency, you'll see it's mind-boggling that it's a huge intelligence here and a great design that is done in there. Till it came a time with one of the biggest mathematicians and physicists, Roger Penrose, who is a Nobel Prize, he has Nobel Prize in physics, had proven that the formation of universal, producing by the universe, universal constant, what we call universal constant, by pure coincidence is impossible. He mathematically did a big calculation for that and proved it. And he is a big mathematician. So even scientifically, it is proven that there is an infinite intelligent design that is due an intelligent designer. And there is also a reference about that Big Bang in the Quran, and some of researchers, modern researchers, said that it's probably those Al-Kindi and Al-Ghazali and others, they had chosen that specific ayah in Surah Al-Anbiya, number 30. أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِأَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. Do the unbelievers didn't see that the heavens and earth were joined together in one block, and we separate them apart? So the second premise is proven completely wrong by atheists who tried to extend, like I said, the role of science to cover the religion, and they had failed to do that. They did not succeed in that. One thing that we want to ask and raise again the question, and the question will come again: how religion is important in people's life, and how essential is religion? Can science take on some of the roles of religion in the society? To answer this question, we can look at many variants in here. And some of the variants that we can look at is the religion, as you know, is tied up to morality, to ethics, morals, and it deals with metaphysics. So the religion, the role of religion is to fulfill human need, psychological human need for spirituality. And spirituality is its psychological need. Now, once spirituality is intertwined with rationality, it becomes wisdom. And the source of wisdom that satisfies the human psychology and bring comfort and solace to human being resides in the religious book, specifically the books for Abrahamic faith. And you find the code of conduct, spiritual code of conduct, spirituality, morals, and ethics. Only religion can comfort human and help a human being to overcome fear of nihility, fear of death, fear of calamity, fear. Only religion brings good tidings about promises of reward of patience. Only religion can help in that aspect, bringing good tidings, as we said, and have that liberating factor and liberating capability. Now, the science cannot answer a lot of questions, a lot of complicated concepts that are tied up to spirituality. Some of those concepts and phenomena are such as the premonition that there is a phenomenon that exists, prophecies, truthful prophecies and vision, telepathy, the sixth sense, even if science talk about sixth sense, but there is no measurable metrics for that, and the near-death experience. Now, even science couldn't answer the question what makes a living thing thing alive? What makes a living thing alive? So the secret of life, as it is mentioned in the Quran with the word al-ruh. Science couldn't answer that question. Now, something about that near-death experience, that as you know, there are thousands of recorded cases from all over the world that some people had merely died, but they came back. What they meant by that is in the different hospitals in the world, and this is across many cultures, that a lot of patients in an unconscious state, they could describe what happened during the operation. They were under operation, and they were proven that their heart was not pumping, their heart stopped, yet, so no blood to their brains, right? No blood supplied to their brains, yet they could describe what was happening in the room. And this is validated, and a lot of testimonies about that. This science cannot explain this phenomenon, especially that those patients, they were all sharing the same stories about going in a tunnel or crossing a river and seeing a dead relative that telling them, it's not your time now, go back. Plus some other description about a high and a beautiful being that was recomforting them. So all those different phenomena that related to the well-being and to the spiritual, the science cannot describe those, and we cannot understand those except by the means of religion. Now, saying that all our universe started from one singularity of matter that is 10 billion times smaller than the atom of hydrogen. Imagine this is how this is a mind-boggling, and with what we had demonstrated before, we can say that one cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the wonderful structure of reality, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a bit, to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. And this what we say Allahu Akbar for. And this is the true meaning of Allahu Akbar. God is greater than anything that we imagine him of. That God is greater than anything we imagine. That what we think him of. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That's Surah Zummar, verse 67. They have not valued Allah with his true value. But on the day of resurrection, the entire earth will be in his grip, and the heavens shall be rolled up in his right. Exaltations to him. Exalted high is he above all that they associate. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ وَالْأَرْضُ قَبْضَتُهُ جَمِيعًا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. اللهم صل على Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I don't know if you have a continuity for the program, but if you have any questions, if there is a room for Q&A, I mean, if any of the audience would like to have a comment or have questions. What is your name? Yeah, that's an excellent question. So in evolution, they said in Darwinism, they said that we share with chimpanzees, not all apes, with its chimpanzees a common ancestor. So, but they had never found where is that missing ring, where is that common ancestor. They said some between 6 to 8 billion years ago, but they never said that. And remark that in what we call this physical anthropology or paleontology, in those research there are a lot of speculation and there are a lot of mistakes. I am planning sometimes for students to comment on that and probably have a workshop or hosting an event for that. But there are a lot of mistakes. There are a lot of antagonist articles by those researchers about the timeline of those hominins, of those fossils that they said they pertain to human. But they are different kinds. Like we start, our species is Homo sapiens sapien, and then you go back in history, so you have Homo sapien, then you have Neanderthal and all other. But there are a lot of mistakes. There are in their methods about measuring how old is the fossil. So they fill in the blanks. And they do a lot of distortion of the truth. And they portray this, unfortunately, as science, but it is not science. I don't like to say that, but they lie to people, they speculate. And what we stick to is that we don't have enough data to know about other species. We have some references from the Quran and from the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, but our knowledge in that is limited. However, those people who said that it is science, it is rock science or solid science, but it is not. It's not true. The proof of that is that there are a lot of antagonism, a lot of articles that contradict each other, and there are a lot of mistakes. So no worries about that. Stick to the religious version of that. What's the Quran says. No mistakes in the Quran. لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه. No falsehood in the Quran. صلوا على محمد. You know that there are two references in the Quran. I don't know Nahj al-Balagha that well, about that part of Nahj al-Balagha. But there is one reference, وَالسَّمَاءُ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ. We had built the heavens with our hands, and we are expanding them. The Quran refers clearly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is expanding the heavens. That's one reference. The other reference is the Big Bang ayah, the verse of the Big Bang, if you want. أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِأَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا. One piece. فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. And we make them, so the unbelievers didn't see that heavens and earth were joined in one piece, then Allah take them apart. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. And the Quran continues in the same verse that the origin of life is water. As if Allah is telling us, we had made that Big Bang, we had made that is adaptable for life, just preparing for the coming of life. Means preparing for the coming of the human being. And this is another reference for the Big Bang as well in the Quran. That's an excellent question. Matter of fact, is very valid, and this is what is happening nowadays. And so some states even they refuse to teach students the evolution. They were teaching them the creation. In some states here in U.S. So why is that? Because in the Judeo-Christian mind, specifically in Europe, was what happened between the church and the clergy. Between the church and the scientists, there were a conflict. You know what happened with Galileo. And and there were some persecution for scientists, just for based upon bad understanding of the Bible. Actually, the Bible didn't say, for example, the earth. It didn't talk about the shape of the earth, really. But at that time, the church was understanding that the earth was fixed, and it was the center of the world. Now, once they discovered that, it was contradicting the church's theory. That's why they didn't like it. And then the clergy had power at that time. They were influencing, for example, in Europe, in France, the King Louis XIV, and then you have George in Britain and others. So they were influenced by the clergy. So then they persecuted scientists. Then look at that trend of scientists that have some skepticism about the religion because of that conflict, previous conflict. But in Islam, we had no issue with that. That does not apply to our culture. Now this happened, and that the trend after in Europe was most scientists were atheists, based upon that conflict. And one of them, unfortunately, was Stephen Hawking. But a lot of astrophysicists and a lot of other scientists are believers. The one that I had mentioned, Roger Penrose, big mathematician and big physicist, and he had proved the intelligent design. Now remark that Stephen Hawking wrote a book called The Grand Design, and he was saying it's amazing how the universe is meticulously done. You know, for those universal constants that I mentioned, like the speed of light, the Boltzmann constant, constant electromagnetism, Maxwell, and others. Those constants, if you change the tiny change would result in no apparition whatsoever of life in the universe. If the light has a speed over 300,000 kilometers per second, you won't have life, no apparition of life. It's amazing. I mean, you can't imagine it. It's amazing. So he wrote that grand design, and he said, whoever did that, I'm grateful for. That's Stephen Hawking. Right. But others did. And subhanallah كذلك يفعلون. ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها. I hope I answered your question. Yeah. Now, alhamdulillah, a lot of research in US specifically, a lot of scientists are believers. And our Christian brethren are doing wonderful job. in proving the spirituality and the existence of God and of that great design. A lot of research in that. And myself, I have read a lot of articles for Christian apologists and get a great benefit of my readings. Alhamdulillah. Of course, this is what they are doing. They said we speak only science, we talk only science with scientific methodology, but they always put their opinion and they always use philosophy because you can't separate those. You can't discuss the how-to and you don't say anything about the why of things. You can't say. And matter of fact, you mentioned gravity. All what you had mentioned has to deal with the gravity. And now, actually right now, as of now, we are revising our understanding of what is gravity. Before we said, okay, any two bodies in the sky exerts on each other a force that is proportional to their masses and inversely proportional to the square, to the distance to the power 2. But now we are revising all that and we are saying it's the space is like a whole, a big sheet. So you put anybody in it, it will alter other bodies. And yeah, with the space-time. And it is revising our understanding of gravity. And it's a huge change and it's gonna keep it changing. So a lot of theories are just theories, are not laws. When it is proven by scientific method, it's called laws. Now the other thing that you mentioned is a multiverse. And that multiverse is the invention of atheists. Because what they said, okay, you said this, now they can't deny that the universe is created. How it came to the existence? They said, imagine it's like a machine of universes. So it started doing randomly creating. Infinite universes, still one was so lucky enough that was a host for life, and it was so lucky enough that it reproduced some humans to think of those issues. It's a kind of ridiculous, but the multiverse also, there is that theory, the Ocean verse or multiverse, it's saying there is a Big Bang. It will start from one high dense singularity and then expand. Then after what happened, that it will shrink again and you will have a big crunch, what you call big crunch. Then after there is another Big Bang and then it comes back and forth. That's why some Muslim interpreters are saying كما بدأنا أول خلق نعيده. But this theory also what is called the oscillating universe. It's all speculation. Those are just theory, like the theory of strings, the 11 dimension. Now we're talking about there are more than 11 dimensions. So all those is, if you want, kind of science fiction. It's between science and science fiction, but these are all theories and not proven, and didn't come to the level, didn't go up to the level of laws. But what I had mentioned as expansion, it's a law. They put it in a law. The constant of universe are laws. It's a proven. Yeah, but no, it's a proven. Why it is proven? It started as a theory, but it is a proven. Why? Because we have, the biggest telescope, Hubble telescope. And by the way, Hubble, when started in the year 1922, Einstein had already started talking about relativity. And then he watched with Hubble, and then he admitted that, Einstein admitted that the universe is expanding. So the universe, the expansion of the universe is a true thing. And we are keeping watching and observing with telescopes that the universe is expanding. And the rate, the acceleration of expanding is calculated in a law, in a formula. So that there is no doubt about that. No, it's not a fancy. Those research, we are spending billions of dollars with NASA, the Russians, the Chinese, and all, because we are continuously looking for resources. And water will be a problem on this earth. Say in the year 1950, it will be more problematic than oil. The most important resource will be water, because water will be scarce somehow. And then we are expecting a lot of wars because of water. And so because of that, and with the global warming now, so we are losing of percentage and ratios of water. They are continuously looking if there is ice on other planets. They talk about one moon of one planet that has ice, a bit on the moon. And Mars, they did some research because they thought previously it had liquid. We don't know oceans of water or methane, but other liquid. And because of resources, we are doing those research. It's not only for pure fantasy. Yeah, travel in time, this is referring to the relativity of Einstein. So this means that, just to put it in a nutshell and make it easy, presume that on Mars or any other planet, there are favorable conditions for life, and people, human like us, can live there. So the 1 year will pass in here. On the other planet, in some planets, there is a only month that passed there. So what is happening that even the time now, your time, the human on Mars, can, for example, if a son traveled there, and then the father had passed on his life 70 years, but the father traveled there. So, but the son passed 70 years on Earth, but the father there, it passed only 15 years in Mars when he traveled. And when he traveled, the son was 15, for example. So after that many years, the son becomes older than the father. But those in a condition, this is just a theory, because it is less likely to happen, and this is a likelihood. It's not going to happen, because each planet has a different conditions and has no conditions for life. But the time, what the relativity tells you, and this is very important. And this concept, all what you need to retain of the relativity is this concept. If you travel with the speed of light, okay, this is the limit, the maximum. What does this mean? This means that if you are in a train, okay, the train has a 20 miles per hour, let's say, and you are running in the train, okay, with 5 miles per hour. Now, for an observer outside the train, your speed relative to him is 25, is 20 plus 5, because he's fixed outside and the train is passing. So those speeds, the velocities are additive, they are adding. Now imagine you have a shuttle, right? And the shuttle is close to the speed of light. It's not going to happen, because it's going to become energy per Einstein. But imagine, Okay, imagine half, it's close to relativity. And in that shuttle, imagine you are sending a beam of light. A beam of light, then it has the speed of light. Okay, for outside, for an observer outside, the speed of that light is not double, is not the speed of shuttle plus speed of light. The speed is only the speed of light. They cannot be additive when you come close to the speed of light. So all the classic physics axioms and laws do not work. That's what you need to understand. But you asked me something important and I forgot. What is the second? Yeah. Oh, in the Quran. In the Quran, let me tell you one thing and think about it deeply. Time for God, for the Creator, is zero. There is no such a thing as time. Time runs on us. And the time is relative. It's bound even to the matter. I don't want to get into that because now you talk about the vector space-time. It's pretty deep. And I don't want to go into it. It needs a lot of details. But what I'm telling you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He was talking in the Quran, He said, اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. He said that He talked about in the past tense about the future in the Quran. And then in the Quran, وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا. He said in the past, He said, because for him Yawm al-Qiyamah is a present or is past, it does not apply. He was talking about Yawm al-Qiyamah and he said, the Malaika came. He does not. And then also he said, إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ وَأَذِنَتْ لِرَبِّهَا وَحُقَّتْ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about يَوْمَ وَجَدُوا مَا عَمِلُوا حَاضِرًا. So he was talking and mentioning and referring in the past tense and the future and in the present. In the Quran, there are, if you read the Quran, you'll find that change. And this is, by the way, it's miraculous. It's miraculous in the Quran because the tense is different because there is no time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for Him. It's just about us. Thank you so much. Thank you for your question.